Investigate and explore. Become clear that sensations are everything. Notice they are temporary, changing, and all there actually is. Let be with that. You live in this successive haze of thinking, and you can't even recognize this. Be with the natural clarity of consciousness, an innate feature of consciousness, without using effort, which is really just more unaware thinking. And the nature of consciousness pervading all present moments is known. Sustain this without effort, and you will recognize thoughts are not a possession. There is no thinker. Thoughts are another expression of your non-dual nature of mind. They arise without a someone and disappear without a someone, like all other selfless phenomenon. The nature of thought can be seen through as non-dual, and it always has been. The goal has never been to get rid of thinking, but to sustain awareness so that they are discovered as spontaneously arising and passing away all on their own. To see thoughts in their mindful context as impersonal, impermanent, and insubstantial/empty. It's not that the sensation of thoughts change necessarily. It's just that when you experientially notice them, presently, start and stop, you catch sight of the underlying non-duality of these movements of mind as mind nature. You're out of confusion for a moment, thieves entering an empty house, when you see clearly the clarity of being. But you have to get into the non-conceptual present moment to see being and the thoughts this way. Just as you can meditate on a sound and see that it is non-dual and not a sound over there, you can rest from being lost in and convinced of your thoughts and see that the ego itself is just another impermanent sensation. It is non-dual and not solid or lasting. It is the sensation of being lost in your thoughts, of not recognizing that there is no extra evidence of a self. There is just impermanent and impersonal sensations. Be aware of thoughts starting and stopping, and the sustaining of awareness gives you/reveals the wider context that is the non-dual nature of mind. It is the continual habits of becoming mindless and effortful that keeps you not noticing thoughts. Sustain effortless awareness, and it becomes evident thoughts arise out of Rigpa and dissolve back into it. The problem isn't the manifestations of consciousness, it is that we do not recognize the nature of the manifestations. Train in awareness to recognize non-duality. It is a conceptual and dualistic premise that it can be found through you applying effort. It's a dualistic premise that this moment isn't enough, and that it can be improved by you doing something to it in the next moment. So for just a moment, which becomes the present moment, leave this moment unaltered. And sure enough, in the next moment you might forget where you are or what is and become mindless, or you might find yourself striving in some way. But then again, you can for a moment leave a present moment, what is as a moment of experience, unaltered. And eventually those moments can grow longer, your awareness becomes sustained, and you'll notice what reality is like when it is left without the conceptual definitions and confinements of duality. If this is too hard to practice, then you've presumed I mean something more than what I mean when I say unaltered, or your moments left like this are becoming too long. If you are confused by what it means to leave your mind as it is, then meditate on a single sensation by diligently and effortlessly not forgetting the sensation, and it can become clearer the sort of clarity of being mindfulness offers, the openness and the intrinsic naturalness to all of this. It is on the surface of experience. So attempt this practice/resting in being as loosely as possible again and again. Make yourself comfortable so you can be without being disturbed. Compose yourself to be aware and not mindless. It is possible to glimpse enlightenment, but this insight is typically momentary. It doesn't last because we have habits that disrupt the spontaneous recognition of the nature of mind/enlightenment. We have the habit of becoming endlessly distracted. So to not be distracted and to recognize the nature of our very present condition/consciousness, we need to be calm and we need to be concentrated. Concentrated because there is something significant to be noticed, and this noticing can be sustained. Calm because it's not a conceptual or mental recognition. It's something that we know through and in the moment of experience. Thus I will start my meditation sessions by concentrating and calming my mind/self. Insight into the nature of consciousness is obviously not limited to sitting down. You're always conscious, but it's much easier to examine consciousness, the nature of being, if there's less distractions. I want you to approach your breath meditation very naturally. You should find more capacity for breathing during the exercise, but you also should not feel like you're forcing yourself. It's time to start being tuned into ourselves and to start being natural. Naturalness is always shifting, so get rid of your ideas about your breath and discover it in each moment that you practice. Start by breathing in and focus yourself on the sensations of breathing in by saying in your head, breath in, and hold your breath somewhere at the top where it's comfortable, and guide yourself to the sensations by using the mental word hold, and guide yourself to the sensations of the experience with the mental words breath out. And at the end of the breath, let go for a moment of trying to do anything. Just let go. Repeat this, gradually loosening on the amount of effort and labels you're using to calm and concentrate yourself. Do this until you can let go of the training and coercing of presence completely, to just be with what is, and to come back to being if you start tuning out or getting caught up. This present moment is where we will find it, because that's where consciousness is, so that's where the nature of mind must be found. We most fundamentally are a cognizant union of sensations and the knowing or awareness of those sensations. And if for a moment we can recognize this condition of being without being distracted or having ideas about it, consciousness itself is already very perfect and free. So be with that. Be with this. Thank you for watching. I've created a playlist designed to lead anyone to non-dual insight, and I've linked it in the description box below. Please like, comment and subscribe to support the creation of this content, and I'll see you soon with a new video.